This is Pod Populi.
Podcast for the people.
Welcome back to the Wedding Buzz. It's your host, Sydney, and today I am so excited to introduce my guest, Annie. She's the owner of Sublime Content by Annie, and I had the pleasure of working with her this past weekend, and I'm so excited to have her on when we were eating dinner in the little vendor room. We were chit-chatting, and I was like, I like you. You need to come on the podcast. So I'll let her dive into more details. But Annie, thank you so much for joining me.
Thanks for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Yes.
I really am. I mean, it's so, like I said, it's so different and so weird for me to actually be sitting here and doing a podcast. I always listen to podcasts, but I've never been invited to one. So thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited.
I'm so glad that you're here, and we're gonna have fun. It's a good time. It's a good time. So first of all, your company is called Sublime Content by Annie.
Yeah.
And you are a content creator. So for those listening, what is a content creator? Some people know, some people don't. I'll let you explain that.
So it's definitely something very new in the wedding industry. A lot of people like to say it's a trend, but it's not a trend. We're here. Yeah, we're sticking.
Here for it.
So basically, content creator is someone that is also in the media team. So same aspect as a photographer and a videographer. We are walking around the event with an iPhone. So we're capturing all the behind the scenes, the candid moments, with an iPhone, taking pictures, videos, doing TikToks, Reels, all that creativity. And it's amazing because you get all this content delivered the very next day for you to relive on and just look back on and just have forever. So it's fun to have, and it's so new in the industry. So I feel like content creators are working their way on the top, and we're here.
No, you are here. I feel like 6 months, a year ago, it was what is this?
Oh, yeah.
But I think you're here. You're on top. I feel like so many people are asking for it. People are finally starting to understand what it is and see the value in it. So, okay, let's circle back. How did you get into the industry? Because I feel like I overheard you at the wedding. Wedding days are, there's so much going on. And I feel like you were talking to one of the venue staff about your previous job before you got into content creating. So tell me, what were you doing and how'd you get into this world?
Honestly, what wasn't I doing? I did so much. So I'm 26, but once I graduated high school, I went to fashion school.
Okay.
And I was doing visual merchandising, fashion styling. I was doing that for a while. So I've been in the retail industry for a very long time.
Okay.
And then I was a nanny, on and off. I have a passion and love for kids, so I decided to do the behavioral therapy world. And I went to school and I started doing behavioral therapy. So I've worked with special needs children for 3 years.
Oh, wow. What kind of schooling is required for that?
Honestly, not much. So you just need to do an online course.
Okay, it's a certification?
Yeah, a certification. Gotcha. And then you can work your way up.
Gotcha.
And I mean, it's amazing, a start pay and everything. And I know I didn't want to go back to school because I already spent so much money, especially on student loans with fashion school. And then I almost started nursing school too. I was just going through a roller coaster of what do I do?
Society asks 18-year-olds to be all right, pick what you want to do your whole life. And everyone's like, what?
Yeah.
So
and my mom was a single mom her whole entire life. So it's so hard for me to just not do anything and support her at the same time. So I was okay, I need to sit back and actually start a career. So I was doing nursing school, and then I dropped out of nursing school because I was so confused with what I wanted to do. But I knew my love and passion was for kids. So I did behavioral therapy. And while I was doing behavioral therapy, I was doing content creating, but for fashion brands.
Okay.
So basically I was doing try-on hauls on TikTok and just promoting those brands and their business and their product into a TikTok. So I was doing that for quite a while. And a friend encouraged me, and she told me about the wedding content creating. Honestly, I didn't know what it was. I was what is that? She was you've never heard of it? And I was no, I don't know what it is. What is that? And so she sent me, I am truly inspired by her. Her name's Cupid Content. if you're watching this, hey girl. She inspired me so much. I looked at her video and I was like, wow, like that is so cool. Like I want to start doing that. And so with a little push, I started doing the content creating in the wedding industry. And at first I started to just promote it for like free, to see where that would take me.
Yeah.
And I did do like my 3 first weddings I did for free.
Okay.
And it was just small weddings, like backyard weddings, very intimate. And I knew, oh my gosh, like this is something that I really want to do and really want to pursue. It's so much more like creative. And also I get to actually talk to people because doing content for fashion was completely different.
Yeah.
I was just promoting their brands and talking about their brands, but I had no one to talk to about it like in person. So doing that in the wedding industry, meeting new people and connecting with new people, I knew like that's what I wanted to do. So
that's awesome. That's so exciting.
Yeah.
So what is Sublime? Like the name of your company? Sublime Content.
Honestly, you are the first person that has told me that. Everyone has kind of just like brushed it off. But Sublime is another word for candid.
Oh.
Yeah. So I knew I didn't like, I hate to say this word basic, but I didn't want like a basic name. Like I didn't want like behind the scenes with Annie or content by Annie. Like I didn't want anything like that. And so I started like doing some research.
Yeah.
And Sublime is also my dad's favorite band. So I was like, cool. How do I like incorporate like, you know, content with, you know, like.
That's exactly what it is. It's like candid content.
Yeah.
But Sublime Content by Annie sounds cooler.
Right. Yeah. So
like candid content. Like
it. Yeah. And
that's I'm glad I asked. That's a cool like meaning. I didn't know. I was like, I wonder what Sublime is. Okay, so tell me about your offerings. Like I know you have different packages. You don't have to like walk me through every single package, but like what does it entail on wedding day? Like what if someone hires you, what does that mean? What do you come and do?
So I like to always clarify that I'm not just a wedding content creator, but I'm just a content creator because I don't really just specialize in weddings. Like I do like, you know, birthday parties, baby showers, and like proposals, just things like that. But I do normally just, you know, work in the wedding industry. Yeah, so that's mostly what like my time.
I mean, it's kind of same. I do all events, baby showers, bridal showers, but like the bulk is weddings.
Yeah. So in my wedding packages, I offer a 6-hour, an 8-hour, and a 10-hour package. So basically just depending on the bride and how long she needs me, what she wants to book for. All of the packages come with like your pictures, your videos, and which is unlimited. So I can take as many pictures and videos as I want throughout the day. And then I'll edit them into doing TikToks and Reels if that's something that a bride wants to do, because not all brides are really comfortable with doing TikToks and Reels. Yeah. But that's just something that I offer. And then, of course, like all the content will be delivered the next day, and they get like some edited clips, so little like snippets of their day, and that's all included into the packages.
Gotcha. So for those listening, like we said, like I did a wedding with her this past weekend, and the next morning there was like a bunch of content, which the bride got too.
Yeah.
And like there was this beautiful highlight, like recap video. And I feel like, I mean, you're married, like you were a bride, I was a bride. And I feel like that night and that next morning, it's like you want to relive it. Like you want to look at it again. And I was just on the way here talking to my sister on the phone, like, and I was like, oh, I'm having this girl, Annie, like she's a content creator, whatever. And she was like, oh, that's cool. Like, and she was kind of asking like, so what is that? I was like, you know, that video I sent you the next morning, that was like a beautiful highlight reel of the whole day. And she was like, oh yeah. I was like, Annie made that. And she was like, oh, that's so nice. And my sister her wedding was absolutely beautiful. But like the next day she was having a hard time with the fact that like, you dream of this wedding day like for so long, and then it was like over, and she just was like, oh, did we do everything we were supposed to do? Like,
she
did we
didn't
get
have
all the
anything to
pictures?
look
She didn't
back
have
on.
anything to like look at.
Yeah.
And I was like, don't you think if you had like all like a really cute video and stuff of the day that you would have felt better? And she was like, yeah, like I would have. Yeah. Like, to be honest, she was like kind of upset the morning after, and like everything went well. I don't know why she was upset, but anyway, she was like, yeah, I feel like I would have felt like so much more at peace and like happy and like get to like look at it the next day and kind of like relive it if I had all that content. And of course she had a beautiful like photo album and videographer, but that was like months later. Like, so she had a couple pictures that people took on their iPhones, but like those are never good. Not because of the iPhone, but because people just snap random photos. The lighting's not good, whatever. So actually, speaking of iPhone, tell me about the gear, because I know you shoot on an iPhone.
Yes.
Which these days, iPhone cameras are awesome. Is there a reason you use iPhone versus cameras, or?
I just feel like, so the way that like I promote myself and also just content creators, like everything is unfiltered and just natural. And like the candid moments. And I feel like you get all of that from an iPhone. If I were to like shoot in a Canon, that's completely different because, you know, that's probably something a videographer uses, you know, like that's more cinematic and storytelling. Whereas an iPhone, it's just like right then and there. And you get all like, you know, I feel like it's more emotional also.
Yeah.
Because you get to look back on it and you get to hear like those little cries, those laughters and like those moments that you had with like your guests. So I feel like the iPhone just shoots it all for you and it's just unfiltered. So it's a fun
and honestly,
thing
the
to have.
iPhone quality is amazing. Like you get 4K on the iPhone.
You even have settings on your phones where you can just, you know, set it as much as you want. Like there's different qualities, which I never knew about iPhones. Like there's a 4K, 6K, 12K. There's just so many. So it all just depends on like how you're setting up your settings, and what your style really is. Yeah.
You said a minute ago, you said like a Canon, like that would be more cinematic or like storytelling.
Yeah.
Which I agree. And that is like, you know, the difference between a videographer is they're really like, you know, it's the highest quality. It's they're making almost like a movie out of it. But I must say the video that you made, like storytelling was the first thing I said. Like it really, you showed everything from like the girls walking in to like the little, like just every little detail of him like lacing up his shoes. Like it told this, like I was so impressed by your video.
Yeah, I try to just capture everything. I don't want to just like wander around and like snap like a picture and then just walk away. Like I really try to capture everything because that's what they're going to look back on.
Yeah, no, I thought you did a fantastic job. And of course, like a videographer, it's just like a whole different thing.
Yeah.
But for it being shot on an iPhone and you just being like, you know, I'm the content creator, I'm going to get some candid behind the scenes, blah, blah, blah. Like the little, whatever, 60-second video you put together was like so storytelling. I thought it was amazing.
Thank you.
So you shoot on iPhones.
Yes.
I think I saw you had 2 phones that day. Do you have a personal phone and a work phone?
Yeah, so I have my personal phone with me at all times, and then I have a business phone. So funny, I started doing weddings with my personal phone, and then obviously it consumed so much gigabytes and so much storage.
Yeah.
And I also didn't want to mix my business life with my personal life. Yeah. And I already have a lot of pictures in my personal phone as it is. So, in weddings, like I don't have like a limited amount. I can just take as much as I want. So sometimes I'll do 600, 1,000. It just depends.
Yeah.
So having 1,000 pictures and videos on my personal phone was just a lot for me. And like I said, I didn't want to mix it. So I got a business phone. And so I keep all of like the weddings events into my business phone, and then my personal phone, I just keep it for myself.
For yourself, yeah.
Yeah.
Makes sense. How do you deal with like lighting issues and like battery issues on wedding day? Because if your phone dies or if there's no lighting, like
it's terrifying.
That's no good. So how do you prepare for that?
I always like to pack up as much as I can. So I have 3 extra lightings with me. They're like the clip-on lightings. I like to call it the Alex Earl lighting.
Alex Earl light.
Yeah. So it was so
she
much.
is the one that like made it trend.
Yeah. So
but I have it too. It's amazing.
It's so good, and it has different settings. So I like to show up with 3 extra lightings, 2 batteries, even cables, like anything that I can for my phone to be up and running all day is so important to me. And then once I do use my lighting, I like to always ask my photographer, my videographers, like, is it okay for me to use it? Because
how have you felt? Sorry to interrupt you.
You're fine.
Like photographers and videographers, how have you felt them reacting to you being there?
honestly, I think they're pretty much used to like having a content creator. As of right now, like everyone that I have met, like have already worked with a content creator, so it's not like much of a surprise for them.
Yeah.
So as long as I just like stay out of their way, but I'm also like next to them and all the entire day. I think it's important to just communicate with them. So I feel like as long as we communicate and we all work together, we're gonna have the best wedding.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, no, that is key. I mean,
yeah,
I feel like I've heard of some photographers not being like accepting of it, which is sad to me.
Yeah.
Like I would hope that everyone is accepting, but also like, I saw you do a good job this weekend at the wedding of like staying behind the photographer and not getting in their shot and things like that. So I mean, I would say like on wedding day, like all the vendors, like we're a big team. Like we are not separate companies anymore of like, that's the DJ, that's the content creator. That's like, we are one big team that is all working for the bride and the groom that day.
I was just going to say that we got hired by the bride and groom. So let's make the bride and groom happy. Like they're important. They come first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. So batteries, do you have like mobile batteries or?
Yeah. So they're like the adapters. And I honestly buy everything off of Amazon. So
it's amazing,
it's so easy.
honestly.
And I have a storefront. So in case any other content creators want to, get easy
Shopping
access.
gear?
Yeah, I have that too. But yeah, they're just like mini like battery adapters, and I just like plug it into my phone and then it charges right away.
Oh, I might need that.
Yeah.
Because I have like the big bulky like block.
No.
Then you need the cord.
I need something small because I
around.
don't want to carry so much in my bag. I already have a lot of back problems as it is, so I don't want to like carry around like a fanny pack that's so heavy all day. So I like to just carry like small items.
Okay, well, I'm going to be shopping your storefront. Is it linked on your Instagram?
It is, yeah.
Gotcha. I'm going to be shopping for that because my phone's always dead. Like,
oh no, I have all the goodies. And that's why it's so important also to have two phones or have like more than two phones as content creators. Like if my phone dies and God forbid, like the battery is not even working, I'll use my personal phone if I need to, which it has happened plenty of times.
Yeah. Luckily,
we're not perfect.
My phone doesn't usually die on wedding day because like I'm not scrolling on Instagram or TikTok, or I'm not on my phone a lot on wedding day other than like maybe calling different vendors. So it usually doesn't die on wedding day. But just in general in my life, I feel like it's so my husband's always like he got in a car accident once. Oh. And I don't know. I eventually charged my phone and then but he ended up like calling. I think his best friend went and got him, and he's like, "I'm stranded on the side of the road, and your phone's dead." I was like, "I'm so sorry."
Where were you?
I was just home, but sorry. Okay, so I know that you, not to be stereotypical, but I'm sure that it's the brides that are like, "Oh my gosh, I want a content creator," and the grooms are probably like, what?
Oh my gosh, all the time.
What is this? Or like the moms are like, okay, honey, I see your point. And then the dads are probably like, you want what? Like, what are we spending money on? So how do you kind of combat that? And like, how do you explain it to those who don't quite understand?
So it's so funny. The bride and groom that we just worked together, me and you, I got into my phone consultation with the bride. And she was so excited. She's like, I want to have a content creator so bad. I want you there. And she was like, but my fiance is skeptical about this. And I'm like, why? He's like, he just thinks you're just for social media. Like you're just for like the TikToks or Instagram reels or whatever. And I'm like, no. Like put me on speaker. I'll explain it. And so I just really had to sit there and explain to them, like, it's like, this is not for social media. I know like, listening, like hearing the word content creator, like you immediately think like, okay, a content creator is there to edit the TikToks, do like little fun dances or, like silly jokes. Like, no, it's not for social media. For us, it can be because obviously like we're posting for our Instagram and we want it to be like the best thing ever for us to like promote our business. But for our clients, it's not for social media. It's for them to always look back on and to have forever. So I like to explain that like we do the behind the scenes, every single little thing. And, you know, it is kind of scary to like think about like, oh my gosh, we're having a content creator. That's more money that we have to like spend on. But honestly, if you really like sit and like think about like what we actually do, we do a lot.
Yeah, you do a lot, and you're getting the content like the very next day. And it is really nice to have it and to look back on. And I feel like, especially the iPhone, like the iPhone content that you're getting is so, like you were saying, like candid and real, that it helps you like relive the day, which is like you think about your wedding day your whole life, and then it happens and it goes by so fast. Yeah. And it's fun to like relive it, and I don't blame anybody for wanting to like watch it over and over again. It's such a special day. You spent probably like a year planning this day. Yep. And although like on your wedding day, you're there in person seeing it, like sometimes it's hard. Like it's almost like you need to like see again a different day of like from a different lens of not being like the bride that day, like where you can watch it. And it's special. I mean, I didn't have a content creator at my wedding.
Was it like trending like when you were getting married? Okay. No, when did you get married?
In January of 2022. So like I feel like maybe it was starting.
It started, like 2021, like late 2021. Yeah. Like COVID.
Yeah.
Kind of.
But it wasn't like I had followed maybe like a couple. I know there's Batched, and she's like out of Utah. Which I actually met up with her when I was in Utah last year. Okay. But, like, I had seen, like, a couple, but I didn't know anyone, like, local to do it back then. Right. But, like, some people are like, I'm never going to watch my wedding video again. And I'm like, I do. Like, every anniversary, like, we sit and watch it together. I don't know. Sometimes we just pull it up and watch it together. I feel like it's, like, really special to, like, bring back, and we, like, listen to our vows again. And I don't know. Maybe we're just different. But when people are like, we're never going to watch it again, I'm like, why not? Like, I do. It's so special.
I'm an emotional person, so I always like, I don't know, I just like to think about that day. I mean, it was the most beautiful day. You know, we were like the happiest we've ever been.
And also, like, I know it's not just for social media, but let's say that someone does want it for social media. I feel like there's this like stigma as like, oh, you just want it for like social media. Yeah.
And so what?
I do. Like, if I go to a concert, I post a picture of it, and it's my wedding day. Like, I do want beautiful TikToks and Reels, and I want to brag about it. We spent a lot of money. We spent a lot of time. It's my wedding day. I do want a cutesy little video of my wedding day or 10 of them to post on social media, because that's what people do these days, and there's nothing wrong with that. Like, you're sharing it with your friends and your family, and you're allowed to be proud of your wedding day. So I get it that some people are like, what is for social media? And of course there's more to it, but also and then talk about this real quick, because me as a vendor, as a planner, I was like so grateful for the content because it helps me. I'm running around like
I was just
being the planner that day. I try to film as much as possible. I tell my assistant, like, can you please, like, video as much as you can? But,
and she's also busy, too.
She's busy, too. So I'm like, video as you can, but, like, your job is helping me with planning and coordinating and all of that. So, like, if you have time, go for it. Or even, like, this past weekend, like, as I was unpackaging stuff, like, I set my phone up and recorded as I was walking around. But it's not, like, nicely filming things with proper lighting and all of that. So, and then Saturday, the baby shower that I did, I don't even think I took a single photo or video. Aww. Like, my assistant sent me a few, but I was busy. Like, I did the decor and the floral for the baby shower, so I was like really involved. I didn't have time to film everything. So, tell me about like working with vendors, because you do that, right?
Which is what I also do. Yeah.
I'm probably going to hire you for a few weddings coming up.
So I have a vendors package where I do like behind the scenes for vendors as well. So they get the same thing that a bride would get. So they get the pictures, the videos, the TikToks, if they want TikToks, the edited clips. Like, they get it all as well. They get the same treatment. And I also do like social media management too. So I know that a lot of photographers, like there's some photographers or even like wedding vendors in general that need help with like their Instagram or how to like, you know, make it a little more aesthetic or what to post. And that's where I come along. So I like to help vendors out in that way as well. But yeah, I basically like follow the vendor around at their event, take all their behind the scenes. I also really like to ask for like their help as well. Like we can both like learn from each other. And I know that like as a vendor, like you're constantly busy, you're constantly running around, you're also forgetting things and you need help with certain things. So I also like to ask like, do you need help? Like, can I help you? So it's basically like I'm your content creator, but also your assistant at the same time. Yeah.
Yeah. No. That's so helpful. 'Cause it's so true. Like for me at least, like I'm for months, like planning these weddings and then I want to showcase them and show like my work, but it's hard to film all of that. So hiring a content creator, even for like vendors, if you're a DJ listening, a photographer, a videographer, cause you're busy doing your job, but also we live in a world where like social media is everything for promoting our businesses. I mean, I know for a fact that when brides are looking up like wedding planners and stuff, they're going to Instagram.
They want to see their work.
Yeah, they're going to Instagram to look. And if they haven't posted in a while, it's like, oh, they're not relevant. So it is important.
Consistency is so important.
Yeah. So, I mean, but it's also so hard because like I'm a business owner now. I have to be a content creator too.
Time consuming.
So that's really helpful. Like that you offer that to business owners.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I ask everyone that's on the podcast, do you have any wedding day horror stories?
I have so many.
Uh-oh.
Which is crazy to say, and it's and I hate to say that too. And it's crazy because I've talked to like other vendors and they're like, "What? You've already like experienced things like that?" And I'm like, "Yeah, unfortunately, but I mean, it's business."
Do you have one that like stands out?
I do. So we were speaking about this like in the beginning about like photographers and videographers and how comfortable are they with me. So before I like go into any wedding or any event, I like to send an email to any of the vendors that I'm working with and just introduce myself. And also I'll do like an Instagram DM in case they haven't seen the email. So there's this wedding that I worked and it was a photographer and a videographer like duo. They work together. So I introduced myself and I didn't get any email response. And then on Instagram, I shot them like a little DM and just like left it on open. And I was like, okay, well, I'll just like meet them in person. No big deal. I didn't think anything of it. And then when it came to the day of, and I had to like meet the bride to her getting ready, like little place that she had, we all met up there and the photographer and the videographer were already there. So I walked in, I went up to them and I was like, "Hi, my name's Annie," like just introducing myself. And they just stared at me. They didn't say hi back. They just stared at me. And I was like, okay, they're probably having a bad day. No idea. Didn't think anything of it. So I went up to the bride, I introduced myself, I gave her a hug, all this other thing, and let her do her thing. And then I started taking content. Usually when I do take content, I'm always communicating with the photographer, with the videographer. I'm following them around. Like we're all communicating. We're all having a great time. But that day was just absolutely horrible. It didn't go the way that I expected it to go. And I honestly felt like unwelcomed. And it was to the point where like the photographer was like, "Can you stay here? I'm going to do this." And I was just like, "No, but I have to go with you because the bride
so they were like
paid me to do the content."
Not on board for
they were just not happy with having me on board. And I don't know if they like had like a past trauma with another content creator, or I don't know, something like that in that sort of way. But I didn't get to the point to like actually have a conversation with them. But the whole entire day was just like shutting me out and like didn't want me to like follow them or be anywhere near them. So at that point, I just kind of was like, okay, I'm just going to do my own thing.
Yeah.
and obviously you do your own thing. And at the end of the day, the bride hired me and she wanted content. So I'm going to capture as much content as I can for the bride and for the groom. So I pretty much just stayed in my own lane.
I mean, that's all you really can do. But yeah, I mean, so that's why I was like, I've heard stories of like photographers and stuff not being on board.
Yeah, it got to the point where like a photographer, sorry to interrupt you, it got to a point where the photographer literally put his hand in my face. Like it was just like, stop, like a stop kind of thing. Like stop, like you stay there. Like I'm doing this. Like it got to that like, you know, disrespect. And so that's why I was like, okay, like at this point, I'm not going to even argue with you. I'm not like, this is like, we're going to be professional. You do you, I do me. And at the end of the day, like if you need anything, I'm here. And that's pretty much like how the entire like wedding day went by.
That stinks.
which was bad.
That stinks. I mean, I wonder if they had a bad experience in the past of like a content creator getting in their shots and getting in the way, which I would understand being super annoying because, you know, they're there as well. And like, you know, I do think the professional photo and video trumps the content creation in a way, but like, you know, let's all work well together. Yeah. Let's be nice. You're like the sweetest thing. How could anyone like be not nice to you?
Thank you.
Well, I'm sorry that happened. That stinks. But did you get all the content you needed? Was the bride happy?
I did. And the bride was so happy with all of her content. I mean, she even posted it the next day. Okay. She wrote me the greatest review ever. Good. She kind
That's all
of
that matters.
Yeah, she kind of was also like, I'm so sorry, like that happened to you. So she was really supportive about it all. Yeah.
Well, that's good. That's good. What is one piece of advice that you want to give our listeners, which is probably brides, but it could be anything. It could be wedding advice, marriage advice, content creation advice.
Honestly, this is like so cliche, but like follow your dreams. Like don't give up. Like I came into this industry with fear. Like I was fear of the unknown. I was so scared. I didn't know where this was going to take me. And the fact that like I started this business in November of 2023 and I've already done 25 weddings, like it's absolutely insane to me. And all I needed was like a push. That's all I needed was like motivation and a push. And I was just so scared to like.
Me too, girl. Like
I was scared of comparing myself to others or like, you know, being treated a certain way. And in all, like just go for it, follow your dreams and just be yourself. Literally, just be yourself. And have fun.
It's so true. I like had worked for other planners and like teetered that line of like, should I do it myself? Should I do it myself? Yeah. And, you know, like business mentor was like, so we going to do this or not? Like pushed me off the ledge a little bit. Right. And then I was like, okay, like I guess. And then it's just like, you know, they started coming and I was like, oh, okay. And like, you know, I started doing them and they started going really well. And I got hit with like, I had a venue shut down. I had a bride have COVID. And like, I was like, but like we got through it. And I was like, oh, okay. Like I can do this. It's confidence is so, which, you know, I feel like I'm a fairly confident person, but like, it's hard. It's hard to like,
and it's important to have
take that leap too. And like follow your dreams. And cause it's scary. Like what if you fail? But I guess it's like, do it anyway. So what if you fail?
And you don't want to bring that self like down for yourself. You know what I mean? Like it's so funny because I've done like all these other small businesses and like just like fun, like a little like, oh, I'm going to make bracelets. I'm going to sell the bracelets, like whatever. Yeah. I've made like those kind of like small businesses and never succeeded with them. Yeah. So starting the content business, I was like, am I going to succeed in this? Like what should I do? And it comes with so much patience too. And that's one thing, I'm so impatient. So I'm like, no, but I want this many followers. I want like this many weddings. And it's like, no, it has to come with time. Yeah. And so, just put your foot out the door and just do it.
I also feel like so many times, like I'll end up going to like a networking event and meeting somebody. And then like a few weeks later, it's like I get booked at that venue or like something where I'm like, oh, insane. Like how, like, which I'm a Christian and I believe in God and stuff. And so I'm like, oh,
me too.
Like
faith comes first.
Okay. Like, I feel like it's like a little wink. Like, oh, okay. You had me meet this person and tour this place because you knew like I was going to get booked here. And now like I'm familiar with the place and like things work out. I feel like if you just go for your dreams, chase them, like things work out as they should. And it doesn't mean there's not bumps in the road.
Absolutely.
But
it's not easy.
You got to keep going.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining me. How can our listeners find
Thanks
you?
for having
Like what's
me.
your Instagram or your website?
So my Instagram is Sublime Content by Annie.
Okay.
So long, but yeah, you'll find me. And my website as well. Like everything's on my Instagram. So I have links of my website, my Instagram, my TikTok, like all these other things. But my website is Sublime by Annie.
Sublime by Annie.
MyCanva.
.mycanva. Okay. So if you're Instagram or Googling Sublime Content by Annie, you'll find her.
And then you'll find me. You're going to click on the link in the bio and all of my socials are there.
All the socials are there.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining me.
Thanks
I'm
for
so glad that
having
we met and we
me.
did this.
Yes, it was so much fun. Thanks for
All
having
right.
me.
Thank you.